everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dawn with Candy Cane Ridge. Today is block number 1 in our Holly Jolly 2026 Quilt Along. So it's going to be a series of 9 blocks, and today is block number 1. Find everything in the description below, or you can scroll to the end and scan the QR code and everything will be there. So today, here's block number 1. Grab your fabric and let's get stitching. So to start with, go ahead and download your free alphabet tiles. You're going to actually need A through H. Get those printed and cut out. And then let's take a look at our block. So go ahead, download block number 1. This is going to go together very, very quickly. Now, if you don't want to take the time to download it, I'm going to leave it right here. You can take a screenshot of it if you need to. This is 100% totally free. And I will also put a QR code at the end of the video so that you can have it anytime you want to come back to it. So, I want to tell you what actually we're going to be doing. My idea behind this whole block of the month is for very new beginners and experienced quilters that they can just zip right through these and have something put together by Christmas. But if you are a very new quilter, this is the place for you to do your favorite first block of the month. So we are going to actually be making half square triangles. Then we're going to snowball the corners on those half square triangles. We're going to be making strip sets and then a little 9 patch, and that's all there is to this particular block. So go ahead, download this, get your fabric. You're going to need a background fabric, some red and some green, and if you need to stop this, go get your fabric cut and come back. That's why it's on YouTube. You have access to it whenever you get ready. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in and get started. I've already got everything cut out, and I'm going to keep my diagram handy right here underneath Nicholas Jr. Sir Chicken. And so we're going to start off with our A squares and our B squares and make half square triangles with those. Okay, but first we need to take our A squares and we're going to turn them over and we're going to draw a line down the back of them. I've done this one already. From corner to corner, we're going to draw a straight line. Now, it doesn't matter if it's from this corner to this corner or this corner to this corner. We just need a line from corner to corner. So I'm going to go ahead, just my regular ruler. I'm just going to line this up. I start in the middle and go out in the middle and come down, just because otherwise it tends to kind of gather right there. So I'm going to do the rest of these. Now we're going to take our B's and just right sides together. We're going to line these up. Now, if you want to, you can take And you can put a pin in because we are actually going to be stitching on this line. I'm going to walk you through getting everything put together, and then we're going to take it all to the sewing machine and sit down at the sewing machine and get everything stitched together that we can, and then we'll come back and start building our block. Okay, so we've got all of these. There are 4 of them, and we're going to stitch on this line all the way down. So I'm going to take these and put those to the side. Now what we're going to do, looking at our diagram, now we're going to put together our strip pieces right here. So we need D's and E's. So here's our E and here's our D's. So we need a D and an E and another D. So how we're going to do this, we're going to take to the sewing machine, right sides together, and we're going to stitch all the way down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then we're going to take this D and we're going to, again, right sides together, we're going to stitch all the way down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And there's our D and E little strip set. So I'm going to get all of these just kind of put together. All right, I've got 2 more of these. I'm just, again, right sides together. And then I'm just going to stack these up so that I'll know that this one goes on the opposite side. And I'm just going to turn them. Right sides together. And we should have 4 of these too. So we've got all of those put together. Now we're going to make our little centerpiece. And in our center, we have F, G, and F, and then F, G, and F on the bottom. We're going to make those first, but I want to caution you. Your G's, let me show you on here. So on your G's, they're the same size, but you're going to turn them differently. So for the top, you're going to actually be turning, you're going to have F, and your G is going to go long ways up and down, and you're going to stitch right sides together, right down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then you're going to add this side, stitching down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You're going to make 2 of these. So we've got the F, we're going to turn our G long ways, and then we have our other side. Now, for these G's, instead of turning them this way, we're going to turn them long ways, going right to left, east to west, or west to east, however you want to do it. You know what I mean. And then we have one H, and that's going to go in the center. And it's the same process. We're going to take this, flip up right sides together, and we're going to stitch down using a 1/4 inch seam. And then we're going to take this one and stitch using 1/4 inch seam. So these 4 are the same measurements, but you're going to turn them differently. So if you are putting this one together and you're like, what is going on? This doesn't work. Take it and turn it. Just like here. If you forget and you're like, this doesn't line up, take it and turn it. So we're going to take this to the machine. We're going to take this little one to the machine. And we're going to take this one to the machine. Uh-oh. Okay, so we're going to stitch this one together. We're going to stitch this one together. And we're going to stitch this one together. These two are going to be stitched together just alike. This one is the same way, it's just smaller. So I'm going to stitch all of this together. We're not stitching our C's on yet. So he's just going to hang out over here in the corner. So I'm going to go stitch this together and be right back. Okay, so I've got all of this stitched together. And as you can see, it's just one right after the other. So let me take my pins out of these. And this is what you call chain piecing. And then here's our greens. And if you can see, there's a thread attached here where I stitched this side to the center, and then another thread where I stitched this side to the center. So I actually did one pass and stitched here and here and here. Then I went back and stitched this one, this one, this one, and this one. So these are ready to just be pressed. Okay. Now what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to press these to the dark. I'm going to press these towards the center. This is kind of the direction that they're kind of wanting to go anyway. There's that one. Okay, I'm going to relax this seam. I'm going to relax this seam. And then we're just going to press. Relax those seams. It allows those threads to actually kind of like, I don't know, just kind of sink into the fabric and just kind of nestle in there. It helps them to lay a little more flat. And that's what you ultimately want, is a flat block. So that's our goal. The flatter the better. But we're going to do what we can do. If you are just starting out, this is not a fancy iron, but it does get very hot. I just got it at the local big box store. All right, I'm going to leave these under my clapper because, okay, so this is a clapper. My husband makes these out of special wood that he gets from an actual, not a big box store. He actually went and hand picked the piece of wood, and then he cut them, sanded them, and so yeah. But what it does is it helps to draw the heat out and helps your blocks lay more flat. Now on these, since I'm using red and just how the pattern is going to lay out, on the center, we're going to be pressing our seams towards the dark side. For our strip pieces, we press them in, and for our center, we're pressing them out. Same thing, relax those seams. Now on our center, our GHG, we're going to press this one again towards the dark, which is towards the center. And there is a reason for that, and I will let you know what that is in a minute. While these are cooling, I'm going to be working with our half square triangles, which is our A and B. So I'm going to take, and we're going to press these. Again, you're going to set that seam. Then you're going to take either side and open it up. Now I'm going to press mine towards the dark side. Just being very gentle with it, because you don't want to distort it. You don't want to pull and tug on it. Okay. Let me move these. And if you've noticed, your red fabric tends to get darker when it's hot. There's nothing wrong with it. Just know that it will go back to its normal color when it cools off. Okay, we're going to let those stay. We're going to come back to these. I'm going to trim up any little stray threads that you have. It's easier to do this now. And I want to show you, if you have something like this, see where it's like maybe a 16th, even a 32nd or whatever off. We can take care of that in the seam allowance. Do not get worried thinking, oh my gosh, I have to be perfect. No, you don't. No, you don't. Okay. Let's see. I had one that kind of rolled up right there. All right. So we've got our top. We've got our bottom. We're working right here. So we have our F, G, and F, F, G, and F, and then we're going to insert our G, H, and G. Now, because we pressed our seams towards the red on this top row, and we pressed it towards the red on the center row, we're going to line these up. And I want you to see your seams are going, do you see that, in the opposite directions? That's actually what you want, because you can feel with your fingers those seams actually nest, is what they call it, nesting. They nest or they nestle together. So they're very snug in there, and it helps your block to just stay lined up. So we're going to pin. Now I'm going to take this to the sewing machine, and we're going to stitch all the way down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then we're going to come back and we're going to do the same thing, because this is our top, this is our center. We're going to do the same thing, adding our bottom to here. Okay? So I'm going to take this to the sewing machine here in just a minute and stitch that together. And we already have, these are finished. These are just ready to be pieced in there. So I'm just going to leave those under the clapper by themselves. All right, let's look at our half square triangles. So we're going to take our scissors, and you've got one side that is the white, then you've got the other side that's all this left over and your red part. If you want to, you can take your ruler and you can line this up using about 1/4 of an inch in your rotary cutter, and you can trim that off. If I do that, I'm going to have to move my ironing station because my cutting mat is underneath it. I'm just going to use my scissors, and we're just going to eyeball it. And we're going to save this as good scraps. Now we're going to take these, and we're going to take, remember our little C corners? Here's our C corners. We're going to take our C corners, and we're going to do what we did the last time, and we're going to draw a line from corner to corner. Now, if you have the seam tape or a Seam So Easy guide on your machine and you don't have to do this, then you do you. But I kind of still like doing this. It just, if I get sidetracked or whatever, it helps me to remember what I was doing. Okay, so we've got our 4 C squares. And we have our A and our B half square triangle. So I'm going to take my C square and I'm going to line it up all around my edge. I'm going to line up this edge and this edge. Here's my line. It is going in the same direction as my half square triangle line. Now, if you watch any of my videos, you know I like Mr. Elmer's glue. I am going to take Elmer's glue. This is just Elmer's school glue because it's washable. And I'm going to, instead of pinning, if you want to pin, you can pin. But I'm going to take Elmer's school glue and I'm just going to put a few little dots if it'll come out. You can also use a glue stick. Well, I don't know what is wrong. Okay, we're going to try this about I don't know, 5th time or so. So we got it all cleaned out. We're just going to take just a few little drops because we're actually going to cut this piece off. So I know there's some of y'all going, oh my God, she's putting glue on there. It's okay. We're going to cut that part off anyway. If you choose to pin, I particularly don't choose to pin. That's why I choose to use the glue. But if you want to pin, you can take your pin and you can put it down here at this end so that it doesn't get in the way of your sewing machine foot. And then you can also pin down here that holds it in place and it shouldn't wiggle and you can stitch right through there. But I am a gluer when it comes to stuff like this. So I'm going to raise it up a little bit. And it's not going to gum up your machine because you're not stitching over the glue. Now there's all different kinds of glue you can use. But I have plenty of Elmer's glue. And I found this little bitty bottle at my local grocery store. And I thought, oh, it's perfect. Just remember your line needs to go in the same direction as your half square triangle seam. All right, I'm going to take these to the sewing machine along with our centerpiece, and I'll be right back. Here is our center. We're just going to set those seams, relax those threads. And then I'm going to press towards the center. Now let's see. Hold that thought. Those went to the center. I'm going to press these towards the outside. So when these meet up with these, they will be able to nest. There is our center. We're going to put this right here. Let that lay, cool down. Okay. Now, moving on to our corner square triangles. Just like we did making this, we're going to set that seam. We're going to gently roll that up, give it a press. So now what we're going to do, if you need to, not if you need to, now we need to trim this off. Again, you can use your ruler if you have your cutting mat, and you can, if you have a ruler, you can put your 1/4 inch mark on your stitch line, and then you can trim that off. I'm just going to use scissors and just eyeball it. All right. Now, if you want to go ahead and use your mat and square these up to 4.5 inches, I feel confident enough in these that I am not going to actually square them up. But again, this is your quilt and you do you. So we have our centerpiece. We have all of our, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I pretty much have all the little threads trimmed off. Okay. Let me clean up a little bit here. All right, using our diagram, we're going to take our first block, then we're going to take our strip piece set, and our next half square triangle block. So we have our top row. Now for our middle row, basically we're making a 9 patch. And then for our bottom, just be mindful of your placement of your little green corner square triangle, or else you will be having to take something out and restitch it. So we've got everything out. Let me move this up a little bit more for you. Okay, so we're going to take these 3 to the sewing machine, and just like you would with a regular 9 patch, we're going to come over, we're going to stitch down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then we're going to take this one, stitching down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. There's not really any joining seams you have to worry about on your top row and your bottom row. Now, when you come here, these are going to match up, but these we pressed towards the inside, and these we pressed towards the outside. So these will nest just like before. We're going to match those up. One seam is going towards the inside, one's going towards the outside. These I will pin. And then we're going to come back. Same thing, we're going to come over, stitching down, nesting our little seams right here using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Just like we did at the top, we're going to do down here to the bottom. Stitching down, and then we're going to add this one and stitch this one down. I'm going to go stitch all 3 rows together and be right back. We've got all 3 rows stitched together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to press everything. Now, these 2 seams right here, we're going to press towards the inside. These seams we're going to press towards the outside, and these are going to go to the inside. See how these kind of already want to lay towards the inside? We're just going to make them happy, and we're going to go ahead and let them lay the way they want to. Be careful. And then this one wants to lay towards the outside, and we're just going to make him happy. Now, I'm not going to trim these just yet, because what we're going to do, now I'm going to press this side. Okay, we're going to take our top and we're going to take our center and we're going to flip this up, or you can take the top and flip down. That might be easier for you. And you're going to match these seams. See, they're going to nest again. And if you want, even your centers are going to nest. So we're going to pin those. Now, I am going to pin at the ends of mine also. I don't want anything wiggling or anything shifting so that we can have a square block. Okay, we're going to stitch all the way down using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then we're going to flip this one up and we're going to do the exact same thing, but with our bottom. We're going to match these, we're going to match these, and I'm going to pin at the ends. We have our block. I'm going to press this top. We're going to give that a set those seams, and I'm going to go ahead and press up. Give everything a good press. And then I'm going to flip it around. Set those seams. And here is the back. I'm tickled to death that the back, I'm happy with all of my pressing. All right. So there is our first block. Just going to give this another press. Flip this back over. I just love to iron them. I hope you enjoyed our video tutorial for block number 1. Remember, a new block releases the 4th Sunday of every month. So I'll see you the 4th Sunday in March for block number 2. I hope you had fun stitching block number 1. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.